You are 19 years old. 6 months ago, you thought you knew exactly what your life would become. You worked beside your father in a steel mill outside Pittsburgh. Every morning began with the same sound: the factory whistle, then the trains, then the furnaces. By noon, your shirt was covered in sweat and black dust, and your hands smelled like metal no matter how many times you washed them. Your father had worked there for 26 years. He used to tell you that steel was simple. Heat it, shape it, cool it, repeat. You thought people were simpler. You thought you would work there a few more years, save some money, maybe marry someday, and eventually take your father's place at the mill. Your mother had already started saving for the house she said you would need. Your younger sister, Anna, was 15 and still believed you could fix anything because you knew how to use a wrench. And Eddie Carter lived 3 streets away. You had known him since you were 10. He was the kind of friend who could turn a 5-minute walk into an hour because he had to stop and talk to everyone he knew. Neither of you had ever been farther than Ohio. Then, on December 7th, 1941, the radio changed everything. Your mother is standing beside the kitchen table when the announcement comes through. Your father stops eating. Nobody speaks. Outside, Pittsburgh is still Pittsburgh. Cars move down the street. The factory whistles blow. Somewhere, a train passes. But inside your house, the future you thought you had is already disappearing. The next morning, Eddie comes to your door. He doesn't make a joke. That's how you know he's serious. He says the same thing you've been thinking all night. We're going. Your mother hears him from the kitchen. She looks at your father. If you go, come back. That's all. No speech, no advice, just 5 words. Your mother disappears into the bedroom. A few minutes later, she comes back holding a photograph. Your family. Your father standing behind you, Anna beside your mother. Everyone looking younger than they will ever look again. Your mother puts it into your hand. Keep this. You slide it inside your jacket. You don't know it yet, but you're going to carry that photograph through some of the worst places on Earth. And years from now, when the war is over, you'll still have it. If you come home. 1942. By spring, the steel mill is behind you. So is Pittsburgh. You are standing on a parade ground in Georgia, wearing a uniform that still feels like someone else's clothes. The sun is already hot by 6 in the morning. You are learning that the Army has its own language. Fall in, attention, double time, drop, get up, do it again. Eddie is standing beside you, sweating through his shirt. He leans toward you. I thought the Germans were supposed to be the enemy. You look at him. What? He points toward the sergeant. Apparently, we're fighting him first. You almost laugh. Then the whistle blows. Eddie straightens so quickly you can hear his boots scrape against the ground. That's your first lesson. Don't make Sergeant Hayes wait. Hayes is 42. He's been in the Army long enough to know exactly how long it takes a 19-year-old recruit to become dangerous with a rifle. He doesn't shout unless he needs to. He doesn't insult you. He simply watches. And somehow, that is worse. The first morning, he walks down the line, inspecting your equipment. When he reaches you, he stops. Your boot is loose. You hadn't noticed. He tightens the strap himself. Then, he moves on. You look down at it. You don't understand why he bothered. A minute later, he is shouting at another recruit for the exact same mistake. You begin to understand. Hayes isn't interested in making you comfortable. He's interested in keeping you alive. Training becomes a blur. You learn the M1 Garand.
how to load it, how to fire it, how to clear it, how to move while carrying it. You learn to dig a fighting position until your hands blister. You learn that an army blanket is never as warm as it looks. And you learn that Eddie cannot walk quietly. Ever. He steps on branches, drops equipment, trips over tent ropes. Once, during a night exercise, he falls into a ditch and disappears completely. You hear him from the darkness. "I'm fine!" Hayes looks down into the hole. "I didn't ask." Eddie climbs out covered in mud. You turn away so Hayes won't see you laughing. Around this time, Eddie starts calling Sergeant Hayes Captain Sunshine. Hayes tells him he isn't a captain. Eddie says that's exactly what makes it funny.
Hayes looks at him for a second. "Private, if you have enough energy to invent nicknames, you have enough energy to carry that ammunition box." Eddie picks it up. "Yes, Captain Sunshine." Hayes almost smiles. For a few months, that's what the war is to you. Mud, marching, rifles, bad food, Eddie making jokes, Hayes correcting everything. Then, one afternoon, Hayes gathers the platoon. There is no shouting, no joke. He simply tells you that your unit is being prepared for overseas deployment. The laughter disappears. Nobody asks where. You already know. That night, you take the family photograph from your jacket. The edges are still sharp. Your father's face, your mother's smile, Anna standing beside you. You look at it for a few seconds, then you put it back. Across the barracks, Eddie is already asleep. Hayes is sitting outside alone, checking his equipment beneath a dim light. You notice something on his wrist, a faded photograph, folded and worn at the edges. He sees you looking. He closes his hand around it. Neither of you says anything. You don't know who is in that photograph. Not yet. But you're about to cross an ocean with the man carrying it. Training is not the hard part. Coming home is. You leave Georgia by train. Nobody tells you where you're going. Nobody needs to. At the port, the size of it hits you for the first time. Not a company, not a battalion. Thousands of men, moving up gangways in lines that don't seem to end. The ship feels more like a city, built out of steel. Bunks stacked 4 high, corridors packed shoulder to shoulder. The smell of oil and salt water everywhere you go. Eddie finds you a bunk near his. Captain Sunshine says we're lucky. Lower deck means we drown first. Saves time. You don't laugh this time. Hayes doesn't correct him either. The Atlantic stretches on for days. Some men play cards. Some write letters they don't know if they'll send. Some stand at the rail for hours, watching water that looks the same in every direction. Nobody talks about where you're headed. You've noticed that. Nobody says the word invasion. It sits in the ship anyway, in every quiet conversation that stops when an officer walks past. When you finally reach England, it isn't what you expected. Gray skies, narrow roads, small camps set up in fields and orchards. More training, more waiting.
Weeks pass like this. Rain, inspections, rumors that change every day. Then, one evening, the orders change. No one explains everything, but equipment is checked twice. Letters are collected early. And Hayes, for the first time since Georgia, doesn't say a single word during formation. That night, you take the photograph from your pocket. Your mother, your father, Anna. You try to picture the street exactly as you left it. For the first time, you wonder whether you'll ever see it again. You put the photograph back in your pocket. Outside, the English countryside disappears into darkness. somewhere beyond it, Europe is waiting. The night before, nobody sleeps. You're packed into the landing craft so tightly you can feel the man next to you breathing. Rifles checked twice, ammunition checked twice. Eddie tries a joke about seasickness. It doesn't land. He doesn't try another one. Hayes moves down the line, checking gear, saying almost nothing. When he reaches you, he says only, stay low, stay moving, stay with your squad. No speech, no promises. The crossing happens in darkness. When you finally see them, hundreds of landing craft stretching in every direction, more than you can count. The size of it hits you harder than anything Hayes could have said. This isn't a raid. This isn't a company. This is everyone.
Then the light changes. Gray morning, smoke on the horizon, the sound of naval guns firing somewhere behind you. The ramp drops. Water first, then noise. So much noise you stop being able to separate one sound from another. Machine gun fire cuts across the surf. Men go down before they've taken 3 steps. Obstacles rise out of the water like broken teeth. You're moving because everyone around you is moving, not because you decided to. You lose Eddie in the smoke. You call his name. You don't hear an answer. For a few seconds that feel much longer, nothing else exists. Not the beach, not the noise, just the gap where Eddie should be. Hayes grabs your collar and pulls you forward. Later, Miller, move now. You move. You reach a seawall and drop behind it, chest heaving, ears ringing. Around you, the beach is full of men who don't belong to your unit. Medics working in the sand, engineers clearing wire, an officer shouting instructions nobody can quite hear over the guns. This isn't your story alone. You're one small piece of something enormous. Hayes doesn't wait long. He starts moving men forward in short bursts, pointing, pulling, correcting. Every drill from Georgia suddenly making sense in a way it never did on the parade ground. Then, through the smoke, you see him. Eddie, alive. Mud from head to boots, rifle still in his hands, moving low along the wall toward you. He drops down beside you, breathing hard. Told you lower deck was lucky. The joke is there, but it's smaller than before, and you both know it. Later, when there's a moment to look back, the ship that brought you here is already gone behind the smoke. There's no way back across that water. Not today. Hayes points inland. You pick up your rifle and you start walking. Inland, the first night is quiet, in a different way than the beach. No landing craft, no seawall, just wet uniforms, exhaustion, and men sleeping in ditches, because a ditch is what's available. The countryside here should be beautiful. Green fields, stone farmhouses, orchards heavy with early fruit. But every field is boxed in by hedgerows, thick earthen walls topped with tangled brush, built for cattle, not war. Now, there's something else. Every hedge is a wall you can't see through, and a position someone could be holding. On your first patrol, you see movement beyond the hedge. You raise your rifle. Hayes catches your arm before you fire. Wait. A few seconds pass. It isn't a German soldier. It's a farmer, trying to move through his own field. Hayes looks at you. You don't get to decide what you saw before you actually see it. You lower the rifle. Your hands are shaking, though you don't tell anyone that. Later, he tells you a German position had likely been 30 yards away the entire time, watching, deciding not to engage. 30 yards. You never saw it either. You start understanding that in this country, the enemy doesn't need to be far away to be invisible, and that being certain of what you see isn't the same as being right. Eddie walks beside you when he can. Quieter than before, but still Eddie. One evening, he trades a chocolate bar for a boot repair from a soldier who used to work in a shoe factory in Ohio. Small trades, small comforts. You notice Hayes doing something you haven't seen before. After a bad afternoon near a farm gate, he sits by himself with a small notebook, writing something down. You don't ask. Not yet. A few days later, one of the men who landed with you doesn't come back from a movement along the tree line. No drawn-out scene. Just an absence where a person used to be. That night, you finally ask Hayes about the notebook. He doesn't look up right away. Because somebody should, he says. That's all. You don't ask again. Later, alone, you take out your photograph. Your mother, your father, Anna. The house in Pittsburgh, still standing exactly as you left it, unaware of hedgerows or notebooks or names. You realize the war isn't about reaching Paris or Germany or the end of a map anymore. It's about getting through the next morning. The village is quiet in a way that feels wrong. No artillery here now, just broken windows, a church tower missing its clock face, doors left open by people who didn't have time to close them. In one house, the kitchen table is still set, a chair pushed back, like someone stood up mid-meal and never sat down again. You see a photograph on the floor near an overturned drawer. A family, parents, 2 children, standing outside this same house. You pick it up without thinking. For a moment, you almost put it in your jacket, next to your own. Then you stop. It isn't yours. It was never going to be yours. You set it on the table instead, propped against a cup. Eddie watches you do it. He doesn't say anything. That's how you know he understands. Outside, Hayes is writing in his notebook again. You don't ask whose name this time.
Later, someone in the squad mentions the family probably made it out. Nobody knows for certain. You realize you're hoping it's true, the way you'd hope it for your own mother, your own sister, if the war had gone the other direction. That night, you take out your photograph again. Your mother, your father, Anna, the house in Pittsburgh. You think about the one you left propped against a cup in a kitchen that isn't standing anymore. 2 photographs, 2 families, only one war from 2 directions. You put yours away and try to sleep. December, and the war changes its shape again. Normandy was green and close and confusing. This is neither. The Ardennes forest is frozen, trees black against gray snow, breath crystallizing in front of your face, feet you can barely feel inside boots that never fully dry. When the Germans attack, they come out of fog and silence, not the chaos of a beach. It's worse this way. You can't tell where the line is anymore. Eddie is still beside you. Still Eddie, though the jokes have gotten shorter. One night, sharing what's left of a ration between 3 men, he manages to make Hayes almost laugh again, the first time in weeks. Your unit gets pushed back, regroups, gets pushed back again. Ammunition is counted, not assumed. Men sleep sitting up because lying down in the snow means losing a leg to frostbite. Hayes's notebook comes out more often now. Names, added one after another, in handwriting that gets rougher as the days get longer. Then comes a night when Hayes has to choose. A forward position is exposed, cut off, running out of time, and pulling everyone out isn't possible. He makes the call fast, and it costs something. Not everyone gets out. Afterward, you find him alone, notebook open, pen not moving. You ask him how he decides. Your voice comes out harder than you mean it to. You can't save everyone, he says. You start to argue. He doesn't let you finish. No, but don't let that become an excuse to save nobody. 2 nights later, Hayes leads your squad out of a position that's about to be overrun. He's last through the gap, covering the withdrawal, when a shell lands close enough to take his leg out from under him. Eddie and another soldier drag him the rest of the way. He survives, but his war is over. Before the medics take him, he pulls the notebook from inside his coat and puts it in your hands. Keep writing them down. You don't have a joke for this, and neither does Eddie. You watch them carry Hayes away through the snow, and for the first time since Pittsburgh, you understand that you're not the one being led anymore. By spring, the war has a different shape again. It isn't advancing so much as collapsing. German units surrendering in small groups, roads clogged with abandoned equipment, civilians moving west, trying to reach American lines instead of Soviet ones. Your unit crosses into a Germany that doesn't look like the enemy you imagined. Farms, church spires, ordinary towns. Nobody in your squad celebrates yet. Then you reach Buchenwald, outside Weimar, and everything changes. The first thing you notice is the silence. Barbed wire, guard towers unmanned now, barracks stretching farther than you can see, and everywhere, evidence that thousands of people had been here. You were trained to look for weapons. Here, you're looking at shoes, clothing, dishes, photographs. Objects that belonged to people who were supposed to have ordinary lives. Then the survivors come out, slowly. Men reduced to almost nothing, moving like the effort costs more than they have. You realize, standing there, that these aren't soldiers. They were never soldiers. They're the people who were trapped inside everything you've been fighting through since Normandy. And you're only seeing them now, at the very end. Among a pile of abandoned belongings, you see a small photograph. A family, like yours, like the one in the French village. Your hand moves toward it, out of habit. This time, you don't pick it up. You leave it exactly where it lies. You take out Hayes' notebook. You look at the names, men from your own unit, written down since Normandy. Then you look at the survivors around you, people whose names you'll never know. The notebook means something different to you now. It was never just about your own side. Eddie stands beside you. Neither of you says anything. For once, there's no joke to reach for. You came to Europe thinking you understood what the enemy looked like. Now, you're standing inside something built by people who wore uniforms, filled out paperwork, went home to families at night. You look at the photograph in your pocket, then at the ones left behind here. For the first time, you understand that surviving a war doesn't mean understanding everything that happened inside it. May 8th, 1945. Word spreads faster than any order ever has. Germany has surrendered. Around you, the war ends the way you always imagined it would. Shouting, laughing, someone firing a pistol into the air just to hear the sound of it. Someone else breaking down in tears they've been holding since Normandy. Eddie grabs your shoulder, grinning in a way you haven't seen since Georgia. We're going home. You want to feel what he's feeling. You try to. Instead, you open Hayes' notebook. Page after page of names, in handwriting that got rougher the longer the war went on. Men who marched with you through Georgia, crossed the Atlantic with you, went up the beach with you. Men who won't hear this announcement. You close the book. The war is over. You are not. So, Eddie says finally, quieter now.
When do we go home? You don't have an answer. The train takes days. You sleep sitting up. You wake whenever the wheels slow down, convinced for half a second that you've arrived. Europe passes outside the window. Towns, farms, stations, people standing beside tracks, watching American soldiers go home. You keep Hayes's notebook inside your jacket. The photograph is in your breast pocket. For months, you've imagined this moment. Now that you're close, you realize you don't have anything prepared. At the station, the train finally stops. Men begin climbing down. Some run toward waiting families. Some stand completely still, as if they don't trust the ground beneath them. You step onto the platform. For a moment, you don't see them. Then you hear your sister. Jack! Anna is running toward you. She's older now, not the girl who stood beside you when you left. Your mother is behind her. She doesn't say anything at first. She just puts both hands on your face, as if she's checking that you're real. Then your father steps forward. He looks older, much older. You remember what he told you. If you go, come back. You came back. Your father pulls you into a hug. Neither of you says anything. You don't need to. Then someone behind you says, "You're gonna make me wait all day?" You turn. Eddie, standing on the platform with his bag over one shoulder. Same crooked grin. "Thought you were going home," you say. "I did." He points toward your family. "Apparently we live in the same city." Your mother hugs him too. For a few minutes, the war disappears. Not forever, just long enough. That evening, you sit at the kitchen table. The same room, different man. Your father notices the notebook when you place it beside your plate. "What's that?" You look down at it. Names. He doesn't ask whose. He understands. You think about Hayes. You never learned where they took him after the Bulge. You sent one letter. You never received an answer. Maybe he went home. Maybe he is still somewhere between here and there. You don't know. So you write his name too. Later, alone in your room, you take the photograph from your pocket. The corners are soft now. The picture is bent from months of carrying it through Europe. You place it on the desk. For the first time since you left, you don't need to carry it. You made it home. But before you close the drawer, you open Hayes's notebook. You turn to the first page. Then, you begin reading the names, one by one. And for the first time, you understand what Hayes meant. Coming home wasn't the end of your responsibility. It was the beginning of remembering.